time to assemble the salad. Hello again, Bob Fleener from Acme Salt Company. Today we're going to be getting you ready for the summertime. And for the summertime, we love to do picnics, nicer picnics that goes with that. So today we're going to be taking you through the process of making grilled vegetable and pesto mayo pasta salad to go with that. So a bunch of different components. We'll jump right into it. So we'll start off with the vegetables that we need for today. We're going to use some small sweet peppers that we've been diced up into larger chunks, onion also. We're going to put them onto this sheet tray, this half sheet tray right here, and also we have some asparagus to go with that as well. Some on purpose, we're keeping these two things separate. The asparagus themselves cook a little bit faster, so we'll keep it on this side of the tray because it'll get done quicker than the peppers and the onions. So with that, you'll see we have some olive oil. And we're going to add a decent amount of that just to get this going, to lubricate it up some. And then the Acme steak blend. We love using this stuff. It has a little bit of the orange peel, the citrus in there. It goes great with the roasted vegetables. And then also just the dried zucchini, excuse me, and the coriander works super well with all these flavors. So as you can see, I've just kind of liberally put some on each of these areas. And then we're just going to mix by hand to mix up the olive oil and the steak blend itself. We have the oven on about 400 degrees right now. We're going to be able to cook these fairly rapidly. Again, the onions are going to lose, and the peppers are going to lose some of their water and leach it out a little bit some too, so we want to make sure it's on a higher oven to get those done. Again, we're sweating them in the oven to get them cooked, about halfway cooked through. Then they'll have a nice flavor profile that goes with the pasta salad with some pesto mayo. We'll discuss that in a second. Okay. That's good and ready to go. So again, into the 400 oven. And we'll let that run for about 10 to 12 minutes or so, and we'll check on them to see how they're doing. Otherwise, next we'll move on to making the pesto, the basil pesto that we need to make the mayonnaise for the pasta salad. Okay, awesome. So step 2 of making the roasted vegetable and pasta salad is we're going to make some basil pesto. Excuse me. With that, we want to be able to puree. We have a bar blender that we're going to use for that, and we have some basil pesto, lemon juice, pine nuts, garlic, some black pepper, and then some olive oil to go with that, of course. And then we'll also just do a little shot of the Acme Everyday All-Purpose Pure Salt Mix. But with this on purpose, you see I have ice sitting inside of this now. What we want to do is we want to make sure we keep as much of the vibrant green color when we make the pesto itself. And so us putting ice inside of this thing cools this down really well. Once this thing gets spinning crazy, it actually creates friction, which equals heat, which then can downgrade the basil pesto itself in the color that we want. And again, we want a beautiful green color to go with that. So I've just had this inside of there. Sometimes you can just put it in the fridge or in the freezer for 20 minutes or so before you're done. That'll help as well. Now we're just going to add basil to it. Okay. And then next we're kind of taking all the heavy stuff and putting them towards the bottom a little bit so that when the machine starts spinning, it'll grab a hold of it. Having the heavy things like the pine nuts and the cheese and whatever else going with the oil itself will allow it then to stir and grab a hold and puree it really fast. So also we have some garlic, fresh garlic. And our black pepper. Lemon juice. And then a small amount of the olive oil, just enough to get it started. Okay. So we start. I know better than to talk with that, sorry. So we started the process, right? Now we're going to add the rest of it. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right now, about halfway through or so. And I'm just going to push everything around a little bit some to help the blender do some of the work. Looks like a nice color, but like I said, what I want to do now is I want to pull the leaves and things that are on the very top kind of towards the bottom. So we're just going to help it out a little bit some. That looks good. Now we're just going to check just to make sure that we've gotten all the leaves. Don't see anything else left in there. Spinach or the basil. That looks really good. Okay, a little bit left. Okay. Now next we're going to add our mayo to it, excuse me, with this, and make the pesto mayo itself that we're going to need to make the pasta salad with. Okay, so now we're just going to have a bowl here. And we have some, as a matter of fact, some mayonnaise, some Parmesan cheese, and then some of the Acme seasoned salt mix. So we're just going to get this out of the blender. Okay. Got it. We're going to small a little bit. I'm making about a half a teaspoon or so of the Acme seasoned salt mix in with that, and then we'll add the pesto and the mayo. The mayo and the Parmesan cheese, and we'll complete the mayonnaise. Nice, beautiful colors there, and that basil smells delicious. Okay, perfect. That looks great. And this will be a beautiful color, like I said, with the pasta salad itself once the grilled vegetables are done. Okay, so we went about 14 minutes or so for the asparagus to get done. As I said beforehand, asparagus is smaller, a little more fibrous, and so it'll go a little faster, basically, in getting it done. So what we'll do is we're just going to take the asparagus off onto a plate. We'll cool it down, and we'll put the onions and peppers back in the oven until they get finished. So probably about another 5 minutes or so. We want to get just a little more color on those. Okay, Bob Fleener, we're back again. And this is actually the roasted vegetables that we had before for the pasta salad that we're doing. Remember, we already took the asparagus off. They got done really fast, about 7 to 12 minutes or so. These took upwards of 20 to 25 minutes to get the onions and the peppers done. But they're roasted, as you can see, has a nice little color to them. Now, just like with the asparagus, we'll cool these down so we can assemble together all the pasta salad with the basil pesto. Excuse me, we'll start off with adding, in essence, layers, kind of, sort of. We know we have this much pasta salad, and so we want to make sure that we're not doing too much for this. This is a good amount of everything, but just in case, I always like to hold back and add a little bit of everything, basically, and you kind of see as you go along, see what you think of it, fits well or not. So we're just going to work our way around, doing a little bit of everything, and like I said, we'll give it a toss and see what we think so far. So roasted vegetables, have just some split grape tomatoes, some toasted pine nuts. They're in the pesto itself, but this is a really good crunch. Love having those little things inside there. Then Parmesan cheese. And then also we have some diced up of those sweet peppers. We roasted the sweet peppers here, but also good color to mix in a little bit sometimes. So I've done small little dice of the green ones, the yellows, and the orange ones, and the red ones. So there's 4 colors in there. So we're adding a little bit of that just for some color to go along with that as well. Everything is already seasoned and ready to go. We have our pesto mayo that we made earlier. And again, we're going to add about half of that or so, and then give it a stir and see where we're at. excuse me, is already cooked, and it looks beautiful. But it's also, you've heard me say beforehand, potatoes love salt. They're like a sponge. They can absorb a bunch of different things. The pesto, the pasta itself is the same deal. It's a sponge. It can take in an absorbent amount of liquids and what also go with that. So sometimes we'll add, which you even may think is too much, but it's usually not. Like I said, they will pull in a lot of different flavors. So overall, I like the balance of it, but hey, I'm not afraid to add more is always better. So I'm going to add all of the grilled veggies. And the rest of the pine nuts. The cheese will hang on to it and put a little bit over the top when we're done. I add just a little bit more of the peppers that are diced. And probably not surprising, I'll add the rest of the mayonnaise. Looks really nice. Lots of great smells coming from all that. The basil pesto itself with the mayonnaise and the pasta itself is delicious. Combination of food. Love again the pine nuts that are inside of there as well. So most of this we'll take away and we'll use a little bit of these things for garnish on top when we're done. Okay, so we'll transfer into a bowl. Remember, this will be a great picnic salad that we're having. For some colors, I'll do a little bit of the tomatoes around the top. Last bit of peppers. And some cheese. Awesome. That looks great. So again, basil pesto dressing with our pasta and our grilled vegetables. Enjoy. A great addition to any picnic that you're offering for this summertime. Enjoy.